Horizon Zero Dawn's much-awaited sequel, Forbidden West, is right at our doorstep, and loads of you will be excited to start Aloy's next adventure. But slow down! We here at Outside Xtra are already deep into the game and have learnt some useful do's and don'ts from our time running about the Forbidden West. So, to help you out, we thought we'd give you some tips to make your first hours in the game a little easier. I know, we're too kind. So enjoy this video of things we found super useful and things we wish we'd known much earlier in the game. No story spoilers, but obviously we'll be showing off some of our gameplay, so be warned if you want to go in fresh. Although, if that's the case, why you'd be clicking on a video like this to start with, we don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm just passing through. Got an embassy to attend.
You should have said that ain't gonna happen no time soon.
So we know you're all itching to explore the Forbidden West, but our first piece of advice is don't go! Well, obviously do go, but not straight away. The first hour or so of the game is a fairly linear, straightforward tutorial that reminds you of the mechanics and shows off some new things Aloy can do. You can blast through this fairly quickly as it catches you up with what Aloy and her pals have been doing in the 6 months between the end of Horizon Zero Dawn and now. But the game starts to open up once you reach the Daunt, a Kaja-ruled valley at the border of the Forbidden West. Here you might be tempted to just mainline quests so you can go straight to the exciting, mysterious and beautiful new region beyond. But you'd be shooting yourself in the foot, which is almost impressive with a bow. The Daunt is a nice big practice area before the game fully kicks off. But where the opening was a tutorial of the mechanics, this area is a tutorial that tells you, hey, don't skip the side quests, they're better in this game. There's plenty to sink your teeth into, with a nice collection of missions that take you all over the Daunt and allow Aloy, the saviour of Meridian, to make her mark in this little area of the post-apocalyptic world, digging up some interesting dirt concerning the local politics.
Face it, what other choice do you have?
Hi.
Most importantly though, doing these missions will give you lots of lovely XP to level up, and plenty of skill points to invest in Aloy's fancy new abilities. Some quests even reward you with new outfits or weapons, so make sure you help out as many people as you can so that when you do get to the Forbidden West, you're appropriately beefed up to meet the challenges inherent in a desert full of T-Rexes. You don't want to miss out on free gear that lets you destroy machines in lots of new fun different ways, such as launching a big ol' exploding spike right at their stupid faces.
Now's my chance!
If you feel confident or impatient, feel free to push on ahead, but for our money, taking time to explore the Daunt means you're properly prepped for the Forbidden West. All in all, it definitely helps the rest of the game feel less daunting. Get it? You get it.
Let's see where this leads.
If you've seen our previous video, you'll have heard about Forbidden West's new and improved inventory management system. And so it is our great pleasure to tell you that our next point is pick up every single thing that is not nailed down. Aloy's new stash backup storage means you'll never find yourself stuck in a cave, unable to pick up useful bits of salvage.
No room on me. I can send it to my stash.
So feel free to take everything you see and pick so many medicinal berries that Aloy could describe herself as the Forbidden West's new roaming pharmacist.
I can grab this from my stash later.
Trust us, you won't need it all now, but you'll be glad you have it when the game starts throwing you into bigger and bigger fights where you'll burn through resources much faster. Same goes for the new veggies and herbs that Aloy can give to cooks in return for hearty meals. So if you want to boost in your next battle, make sure you pick up some peppers. Sadly, they're not yet pickled. And don't leave the flowers you find on cliffs. They're kinda useless at the start, but they can be used to trade for outfit dyes later on in the game.
Bet a dyer would be interested in this.
Picking them up as you go means you'll more likely have the flowers you need to trade for dyes as soon as you meet your first dye merchant. Get in. But you won't just pack your pockets with plant life. There's better loot to be found lying around than in the previous game. Rummage around chests, and now, alongside the basic resources and fancy ancient trinkets you got in Horizon Zero Dawn, you can find new outfits and weapons, neatly tidied away by residents of the West until you get your grubby little mitts on them. Use all the other resources you've scavenged alongside them to upgrade that gear at workbenches, making it stronger and unlocking new slots to fit coils and weaves. As a simple power comparison, with our first basic bow it initially took 2 or 3 hits to take down a boar. But after fully upgrading it, which if you follow our advice could easily be done in under an hour even while doing other quests, now it only takes 1 hit. With these upgrades you can easily have an early game common green item carry you through well past level 20, and upgrading is much cheaper than buying new high level weapons from merchants all the time, so it'll save you a lot of metal shards in the long run. Plus, gathering the resources needed for upgrades is easier than ever before thanks to Horizon Forbidden West's new jobs. Also mentioned in our video earlier this week. Don't have the resources you need to upgrade? You can make a mini quest for the resources you need that doesn't merely note what you need, but marks them on the map and marks the animals and machines you need to go after on your focus. Do this for all the gear you pick up in the Daunt, and these robot dinosaurs in the Forbidden West won't know what hit them. Spoiler alert, it was most likely an arrow. When fighting machines in Horizon Forbidden West, it's more important than ever to smash them hard in the components. Oof, sounds painful. Breaking components off is still an excellent way to disarm and weaken these raging robots, and feels to us like it does bigger damage than in Zero Dawn. Plus, you'll reap higher rewards. Why? Because components carry more resources for you to collect, and some get outright destroyed once you kill a machine. So, if you're after more resources, it's very important that you stop and scan machines with Aloy's fancy upgraded focus. This will tell you what components can be broken off, but also if they'll be destroyed upon the machine's death. The focus doesn't stop there. It will also tell you whether or not a component is a key item, important items that can be used to purchase or upgrade equipment and can only be found on specific machines. So our advice when taking on any machine is, knock off the key items first so you don't lose them. To help you achieve this, in your scans you can tag individual components, highlighting them in purple so that it's much easier to take them out in a hectic fight or when some big beast bot is bounding straight towards you. Once you've taken out the key items, go for the other components to quickly finish off your metallic foe. Try and do this for most beasts you face, and you'll have lots of delicious resources for Aloy to use later in her adventure. Seriously, we accidentally saved so much time in quests.
So you decided to visit the hunting grounds. Good on you. Isvad here has all kinds of trials, so hotshots like you can put their machine hunting skills to the test.
Those of you who have played Horizon Zero Dawn will be familiar with hunting grounds, trial areas full of robots that you have to kill in specific ways. Well, hunting grounds make a return here, but there's some contention as to who came up with the idea first.
Same as the Karja then.
Ah, yes. We've heard those cowards claim the idea of hunting grounds as their own, but our soldiers have been training in places like this since before the clan wars. I'm willing to bet our trials are beyond anything the Karja would dare face. A skilled hunter like you might actually find them challenging.
Okay, there may be a lot of new cooking ingredients in this game, but my favourite has to be that salt. The first trials you'll come across, such as the one in the Daunt, are nice and simple, and fairly easy for anyone who has smashed out the trials in the previous game. But they force you to try new things, and you open up new trials as you gain new equipment. Doing these early on, when you have a limited number of weapons for each challenge, forced me to try different approaches, and gave me the confidence to not just stick to using a bow and arrow from far away. Not only that, but one challenge showcased the use of traps, which were used occasionally in Zero Dawn, but are to be found in abundance around the Forbidden West. After squishing a few machines under logs here, you'll be keen to take what you've learnt on the road with you. Each of these trials helps show you 3 different ways to approach one set of machines, arming you with some great knowledge, especially if you're brand new to the series. And if you do well at them, they'll actually arm you too. Complete them and you'll gain special medals, which, while not very useful at the start of the game, can be traded in for fancy rare weapons once you've progressed further in the story and have completed the Opening the Arena side quest. Stock up on those medals and you'll have some spending money as soon as you get there. Lovely stuff.
You wanted to speak to me?
Well, you know better than anyone it's a dangerous world out there, and not just against machines. Name's O'Dirk. This here's my training pit. Best place to practice close combat this side of the Forbidden West.
For the longest time, all of our fights with humans when we first reached the Forbidden West looked exactly the same as in Horizon Zero Dawn. Despite our best efforts to try out new abilities, all melee human kills boiled down to Aloy just wailing on people until they fell over. You can look in the skill tree menu to see what button combinations you need to press in order to execute a special move and, in the end, execute your enemies, but there's no automatic tutorial when you unlock any of these new skills. And when we ended up in fights, we found that many of the human enemies early game would die before we could practice any of our special moves on them, especially since we'd leveled ourselves up and unlocked stronger melee attacks. But have no fear, the melee pit is here. There are multiple melee pits in the west, but the first you come across is in Chainscrape, the big town in the Daunt full of Osseram workers. These pits are where you can find tutorials for each move, and after a few practice goes on this poor Osseram fellow, we had the Resonator Blast fairly nailed down.
The savior of Meridian wins!
The tutorials immediately quit and restart if you press the wrong button at any point in a sequence, so you very quickly learn what not to do, locking that muscle memory in fast.
Attacks are child's play. A real fighter combines them.
Plus, there's a general practice mode if you want to try multiple moves on the same guy, who, bless him, has a health pool much larger than some of your enemies and a much nicer temperament. Once you're comfortable with the moves, you can test yourself against the pit's challenges and finally the Pit Master.
Yield! I yield!
You only earn a meagre reward for it in Chainscrape, but there are higher rewards in melee pits you'll reach later on, and you'll feel much better prepared to use your special moves on the next person who underestimates a redhead. Yeah, that's what you get.
There's the explosives, up on the track. Just need to get across somehow. Might be a good idea to drop that ladder.
Puzzles in Forbidden West are deeper than just climbing up walls and pressing triangle to open a door. Okay, you still do that, but there's more things for you to do. The addition of the pull caster and shield wing and other tools as you advance through the storyline means that routes through caves, mountains and Old One's ruins can be more complicated.
Here I come!
This, for our money, makes them more fun, but also means you're more likely to fall off something halfway along your route. To try and prevent you from having to restart every climbing puzzle, developers Guerrilla have put in helpful ladders here and there that Aloy can climb up if she makes an error.
Might be a good idea to drop that ladder.
Which also offer a way up to any pals joining Aloy for a quest or two.
There you go, girl.
Thanks.
This is a staple in many exploratory adventure games, and we quickly got used to its introduction in the Horizon series, but we still messed up and occasionally missed some ladders, and of course, it was always the one just before we fell off.
Whew. Well, that'll keep me awake.
Damn it! So, to prevent you from making the same mistakes as us, here are the main types of ladder to look out for. There's the classic rope ladder, which now comes in rolled up form. There's the classic yellow metal ladders that you've climbed in many an old one's ruin. And thirdly, a new addition to the list are these weird spindly long things, sometimes with yellow horizontal lights for rungs. We fell off a platform further along from this one and were kicking ourselves when we realised that it wasn't just some weird bit of decoration, but actually served a pretty important function, i.e. being a ladder. How to avoid our mistakes completely? Remember to check on your focus as you climb. Click in on R3 for a full scan of the environment around you, and droppable ladders will have a little diamond shape above them as a climbable point of interest, much like poolcaster launch points.
I might be able to get up there.
Keep an eye out for these as you explore, and you won't end up quietly swearing to yourself when you have to run or swim back much further than you needed to. One thing you'll probably be very excited for in this sequel is underwater exploration. Indeed, swimming is a delight in the Forbidden West, with gorgeous watery environments for Aloy to swoosh around in and do fancy swan dives into. Fans following the game closely will already know from a PlayStation presentation ahead of launch that Aloy has some cool new breathing gear that lets her swim underwater indefinitely. But having played for over 30 hours before we got our hands on it, we now know that you won't get this device until much later on in the game, when you're at least level 22. So before you dive into every watery corner, be warned. Aloy can't swim underwater for very long. This isn't a problem for picking up medicinal plants at the bottom of streams, but it becomes an issue in deeper bodies of water and flooded cave systems, two of which can be found pretty early in the game in the Daunt. You won't be able to fully explore these sunken caverns with your crappy human lungs, at least not if you want to avoid seeing Aloy drown horribly in a dark cave that you realise too late has no air pockets. Oh god. In other words, you'll need extra kit to reach every corner of these caves. So feel free to have a quick nose and enjoy the pretty bioluminescent lighting, but you won't get very far, so you may as well come back later. And while we're at it, let us do you a favour. Keep walking or swimming when you see red crystals growing on walls or metal flowers with vines growing out of them. Getting past these requires new gadgets that you won't get until further along the main quest, just like Aloy's futuristic diving gear. Whenever you find them in the world, the game just marks it on the map as a blocked path, so don't frustrate or drown yourself trying to get past them. Go enjoy the West. So those are just some tips that will hopefully help you in your first few hours playing Horizon Forbidden West. If you'd like to know more about the game, do check out the video that we put up earlier this week, which shows the changes and improvements from Horizon Zero Dawn. And speaking of Horizon Zero Dawn, we're going to give you an extra tip here. You kind of need to know what happened in the first game to fully appreciate the story in Forbidden West. So we would recommend you go check out our pals over at Eurogamer, who made some fantastic videos summarising the lore for you. So going straight into Forbidden West will be super easy and you'll know what's happening. Let's go kill some robot dinosaurs! Hurrah!